Hello guys, welcome back to Adam's podcast. Today's topic is going to be the resource-based views and VRIN analysis. All right, let's get started. The resource-based view is a conceptualism of the firm that attempts to explain why some firms are more profitable than the other. The logic boils down to more successful firms processing resources and/or capabilities that are superior to those competitors and difficult for competitors to replicate. Resources are things that firm owns or has access to that it can use to create or capture value. Capabilities are things that firm does to create or capture value. Note that not doing something is not a capability. If, for example, a firm does not advertise and this benefits them strategically, it is incorrect to say that not advertising is a capability. Instead, one must identify what the firm does that allows them not to advertise. That is a capability. Similarly, strategy or strategic choice is not a capability. If a firm successfully executes a strategic decision, you need to identify the resources or capabilities that made that execution successful. The decision itself was not a resource or capability. However, strategic adaptation, making a series of strategic decisions in response to environmental changes, can be a capability. Identifying what type of competitive advantage a firm has, meaning temporary or sustainable, requires identifying the resources and capabilities that are key to success. These are also known as core competencies. Each of them, or relevant combinations, should be analyzed according to the VRIN criteria. First, how valuable is it? Meaning, does it increase the price of customers are willing to pay, attract more customers, or lower the cost of the firm? Second, how rare is it? Meaning, do many other firms have access to similar competency? Also, how costly is it to imitate? And how costly is it to substitute? Meaning, can other firms easily access a different resource or capability that accomplishes the same purpose? Rarity is a characteristic that most students have a hard time understanding. The question of rarity very much has to do with the nature of degree. For example, most firms have reputation, but when accessing the rarity of the reputation of the specific firm, the question is whether other firms have reputations. The question is whether many other firms have a reputation that is similar to the reputation of the firm being analyzed. Similarly, the degree of quality of the resource matters. For example, if a manufacturer has recognized as the highest quality manufactured in its field, then their reputation for quality is rare, even if other competitors have reputations for quality. Being seen as the best is rare. Another common problem with reasoning about rarity is when the analysis says that the resource is not rare, but it is difficult to imitate. This does not make sense. If a resource is not rare, then it must not be difficult to imitate because it has been imitated many times. VRIN analysis is performed resource by resource, one at a time. It is incorrect to say Apple is valuable because, Apple is rare because, etc. It is also incorrect to say a valuable resource of Apple is its operating systems. A rare resource of Apple, it is its brand, etc. These are both very common mistakes. They do not provide any insight into a sustainable competitive advantage because sustainable competitive advantages come from resources and capabilities that meet all of the VRIN criteria. The correct approach is Apple's operating system is valuable because Apple's operating system is rare because, etc. In this analysis, I'm evaluating a firm's key resource and capabilities for using 4 criteria, whether they are valuable, rare, difficult to imitate, and difficult to substitute, the VRIN criteria. First, let's look at the firm's reputation for quality. The resource is valuable because it is directly influenced customers' trust and demand. It is also rare since it's very few firms in the industry are recognized as the best. In addition, it is difficult to imitate due to the path dependency, meaning competitors cannot easily recreate the long-term history and consistent performance that is built in this reputation. Finally, it is difficult to substitute because there are no alternative resources that can fully replace the credibility and trust that come with the strong reputation for quality. Next is innovating marketing. This capability is valuable because it helps a firm effectively reach and influence customers. It is also relatively rare within the industry. However, it is somewhat difficult to imitate and substitute. Other firms may eventually develop similar marketing strategies or copy certain tactics. That said, this firm's existing reputation strengthens the impact of its marketing, making it harder for competitors to achieve the same results. Finally, we have human capital management. This capability is valuable because it improves employee performance and retention. It is rare and difficult to imitate due to the high level of social complexities involved. These practices depend heavily on the company's culture, relationships, and interpersonal processes, which are extremely difficult for competitors to replicate. While substitutes may exist, such as acquiring different resources or talents, they would only partially reduce the competitive advantage created by the firm's human capital management. Overall, these resources and capabilities help explain why a firm maintains such a strong and suitable competitive advantage within its industry. Thanks for joining on today's podcast.